What's going on? I have no memories of anything before this point in time. My mind is tabula rasa, yet I have a language. Maybe I can find out what happened. My very first memory is waking up on this thing. Before that, nothing. A torture device turned into a strange machine. Books. A lot of natural philosophy and chemistry. Something by There's a handwritten note here. Maybe it can shed... Now is not the time. There's a screwdriver in this toolbox. It looks like the legs of a frog hooked up with wires. And I'm pretty sure it moves when I'm not. A human skull or a paper. I'll call it uric. This oil looks expensive. Let's waste it. It's a brain in a jar. I wonder... I have no idea what's inside of this. The door won't budge. It seems to be barred from the other side. I might be able to unscrew... The screws on these hinges are rusty and stuck. I need some lubricant to loosen them up. I smeared some oil on the rusty screws. That should... I'm free! Another piece of paper. This was written long before the last one. It looks like someone has been sleeping quite a lot in this sorry excuse for a bed, and it was hardly the suit of armor. But why would someone... More writings from the lonely dog. Another locked door. Let's take a peek through. It's the key I'm after. I can't reach it with my hands. I wonder what I can invent to retrieve. The screwdriver is too short. What a dedicated knight to guard a damp dungeon like this. Maybe he was demoted. Maybe he... There's a long stick here. Perhaps it was used to try to chase... Another locked door. Let's take a peek. The stick is long enough to reach the key, but... The stick is long enough to reach... It's the key I'm after. I can't... Another locked door. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. It looks like someone has been sleeping. Hello, Roland. That is one ugly gargoyle. Looks like a George to me. Now is not the time. Ooh, surgical tools. Shiny. I'm content with the length of this stick. I don't know why I thought... That makes no sense. Nothing happens. Another locked door. Let's take... It's the key I'm after. I can't reach it with my... It's the key I'm after. I can't... That won't work. Another locked door. Let's take... The stick is long enough to reach the... Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Interesting, but no. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know why I thought that would work. Interesting. Another locked door. Let's... I'm content with the length of this stick. The stick is long enough to reach the key, but how will I grab it? Another locked door. Let's take it. It's the key I'm after. I can't reach it with... I'm content with the length of this stick. The screwdriver is too short.
Господь знает, о чем она думает, когда молча смотрит в пустой. Вообще, я поднимаю
excuse for a bed, and it was.
звука.
I wonder if I can get a refund on this stitched together body of mine.
Приделаем его к палке.
Look, I can attach the magnet to the end of this stick.
Я гений.
I don't know why I thought that would work. Another locked door. Let's take a peek. Nothing happened. That makes no sense. Interesting. Nothing happens. Interesting. Another locked door.
Думала, для этого нам понадобится магнитик.
This is brilliant, but
Не на социальные обязательства. А Белладонна, я уверен, что все ближе подхожу к больше ничего. И еще один.
there's a
И
long
очень
stick
печально.
here.
Ну что я конкретно жду? Не с радостью. О, ключик висит.
It's the key I'm after. I can't reach it with my hands.
Здесь много всяких склянок, книжек. Видимо, очень долго корпели. Хотя, в принципе, ничего удивительного. Интересно, что эта машина делала. Если здесь она поднялась, как бы машину, сейчас
Toolbox. Better take.
много текста. По сути, игра не очень большая, но здесь безумно много текста. Это Т, может быть, это С.
Maybe it can shed some light on my situation.
Может быть, сейчас сердцем собираю я перед собой. Это последнее испытание. Ради себя. Глаза ее ранее вспыхнут пламя последние. Это был... Решил исследовать именно эту тему. Довольно интересно.
I love magnets. Look, I can attach the magnet. Another locked door. Let's take a peek through. Let's hope this works. Haha. Just... I got the basement key. Let's unlock this door. More letters. A couple of cogwheels on the floor. They must have fallen off the mechanism when the door slammed shut. Nothing happened. That won't work. It doesn't fit. Not yet. The doctor is losing it. He's just scribbling down nonsense by now. It's a mortar. They seem to belong here, but I'll remember where they are in case I need them another time. It's warm. I haven't realized until now just how cold my body... The label says Dr. Wolfram von Trauerschloss. So this is the man who brings the dead back to life. The story is so sad. I don't even... The name on the plaque is Lucas von Trauerschloss. This must be the ashes of Wolf. A beautiful china bowl. A dead body. It's the body of Dr. von Trauerschloss. He's dead. And what's more, he's been murdered. There's a letter clutched in his hand. His final words? The missing candlestick. And it seems blood is flowing from a wound in his skull. I wonder if he was alive when he was killed, or if he was just a mechanical cadaver like... There's something in his pocket. It's a small, delicate key. He kept it in the pocket. The back of his head has been cracked open by a heavy blow. He couldn't have seen the attack coming. He was dead before he knew what happened. The body is still warm. He cannot have been dead for much longer than This letter is signed Belladonna. I've been waiting. Another portrait. It says her name. An old relative, no doubt. But I wonder how she relates to the von Trauerschloss family. Look at all these old toys. Wind-up dolls, music boxes, and mechanical trains all around. I think this... What an abhorrent cat. It looks at me with pure hate in its eyes. What an abhorrent cat. Interesting, but no. Interesting, but no. I'm not going near that horrible cat. I'll have to get... That's a lot of books. Imagine you had books filled with every possible combination of letters. I wonder how much room they would take. There's a finite amount of letters, but unless... I'm not going near that horrible cat. I should sit down and write a story. But with all these journals... The doctor's hand... Look, a perfect sphere. A stuffed raven atop a bust of Pallas Athena. What a cheerful decoration. This room looks completely abandoned. I suppose this is what happens when you're down to a skeleton crew of... This room looks completely abandoned. Another journal page. This... I don't know why I thought that would work. Interesting, but... It's an old clock. One more Belladonna letter. Let's read about this Clara. There's a bottle of milk out here. I wonder how long it's been here. I'll let it stand by the fire for a while. It's thawed. The milk is now in liquid. The milk pours easily. Okay, so I can give delicious milk to my fearsome adversary, but why? I'm not going near that horrible cat. I'll have to get rid of it. Okay, so I can give delicious milk to my fearsome adversary, but why would I want to do that? This creature has nothing but scorn for me. I'm not going near... I'm not going near that horrible... I'm not going near... I don't know why I thought that would work. That makes no... I don't know why I thought that would work. Interesting, but no. Interesting. That won't work. The name on the plaque is Lucas von Trauerschloss. It's a mortar. They seem to belong here, but I'll... That makes no sense.
Тему, но нереальную. И слава богу. Я даже не знаю, можно ее назвать человеком. Вообще все очень печально. Жена. Закономерно для развития лаборатории. Послушай, вас она отомстит утром меном и остался наш горевать в одиночестве. Ходим, попробуем. Че мы таскаем горгульи еще одни? Два рабочих существа и, как говорят, видят призраков. Ну, странно толпы, то в другом месте.
The tombstone says Clara Steve. A note. The tombstone says Clara Stieber. This must be the grave of the wonderful maid I've heard so much about. I can't help but notice. The tombstone says Clara Stieber. This must be the... This stone is so old, and the name is... It says Snowflake the pet cat. How... This must be the family cemetery. Yet, baby Lucas rests in an urn in... What a marvelous mausoleum. This must be the resting place of the lady from the... Two statues of angels. It seems a bit paradoxical to create statues depicting something that's supposed to be immaterial. Let's... More letters. Yes, those are indeed... A plant, a natural object, standing in a pot, a man-made object. The plant can consume nutrition and grow bigger, and the pot can... This lantern might prove to be... Belladonna. This little plant has caused a lot of trouble. For a flower, it's not particular. Look, a journal page was... It's a large tree. Looks very peaceful. Couldn't I have been reincarnated into one of those and... Nothing inside. Let's grind this plant. It's a mortar. Is this how Clara... Yes, this should put an end to the grim reign of this beast. Look, it's a key, and it has a funny tassel attached to it. No wonder the cat wanted to play with it. This is strange. This is Belladonna's... Thaw the milk, grind the leaves, poison the cat. That was a lot of work. Nothing happened. That won't work. That won't work. The mirror is completely shattered. Let's take a look inside. Coils of rope. The lid is shaped like a heart and has... I wonder if this key fits. There's a key hidden inside. That's a big wardrobe. I bet you could hide a corpse in there. That's a big wardrobe. Is she dead? She doesn't move a muscle, yet she sits upright. She's like a mannequin.
Clara, it really is you. I was so certain I'd never see you again. You didn't wake up.
I woke up. I've been wandering lost ever since, trying to find out what's going on.
How are you feeling? Do you remember me?
I have no memories of you, or of myself. But I found some notes lying around. I can only assume you're the one called Belladonna?
I am Belladonna, murdered and reanimated by Dr. von Trauerschloss. At first a mindless mechanical doll, but I slowly regained control over my brain. And when the time was right, I broke free.
I saw the doctor's body.
Yes, I crushed his skull. Standing over his blood-soaked remains, I was free at last.
But where did I come from? If he was dead, was it you who brought me back?
Yes, my love. You were the only thing on my mind as I stood there, alone and victorious. I had secretly watched the doctor's process, and I desperately wanted to believe that I could get you back. I unearthed your grave and carried your dead body down to the laboratory. I did everything right, to the smallest detail, but you didn't wake up. And my time was running out. I can't turn my own key, and now that I was alone in the castle, I knew my life force would run out quickly. But for all my effort, you remained dead, and with no one to keep me vital, I eventually sat down here and just stopped.
But I did wake up.
Yes, apparently you did. Your body had been in the ground for quite some time. Perhaps that made the reanimation process slower, but with your key powering your brain directly, you did not have to go through the drawn-out, sluggish wake-up. I take it your cognitive powers and language have been with you from the start.
Well, yes.
Excellent. Then I have even improved on the doctor's method, but I doubt independent thinking and free will was ever in his interest to reproduce.
Do you think you could do it again?
Create more of us, you mean? Yes, I hold the secret of life and death, and I plan to use it. The experimentations must continue.
And the two of us will have no place in this world.
Quite right. So, we'll make us a place. Dead bodies will never be in short supply. We'll make more of our kind, a whole new race of the damned.
Where do we start?
I know for a fact that there's a fresh body lying out there in the Great Hall.
The doctor.
His flesh, at least. We won't be using his wretched brain. I've already destroyed it in any case. But the body will do. We will have to find a few other ingredients. Will you help me?
Of course I will.
Thank you, my love. I'll carry the body down to the laboratory and start with the preparations, and in the meantime you can help me with a few other things. The doctor's brain is completely destroyed. I made sure of that. I don't think any of us want his villainous brain back amongst us. We're going to need to find a new one. Secondly, we will also need some clockwork parts. We have to manufacture a force to keep the dead body going. Thirdly, not only the brain, but also the head and the cranium were damaged. If we can find a new head, that would save a lot of the reconstructing effort.
I saw a brain preserved in alcohol down in the laboratory.
Oh, you did? That's good. That, my dear, is the brain of baby Lucas.
Your son?
Lucas was never buried. The doctor had the body cremated very quickly and thus incinerated all the evidence that the corpse was not complete. He had stolen the brain and kept it for himself. I don't know what he claimed about not planning on resurrecting his child, but the truth is that he kept the brain all the same.
And now you want your child back?
No, my dear. It's just a brain. I wanted you back, so I took great care to preserve your personality. But this brain is young and has been dead for very long. I suppose the creation will be my child, in a way, but not my son Lucas.
Will we need to find a fresh human head?
Yes, I've smashed up the head of Wolfram rather frivolously. I'm afraid it's beyond rescue. I was thinking of my grandmother, Francesca Canosa. I'm sure you've seen her portrait in the study. She was buried some time ago, but her cranium should be sufficiently preserved. She rests in the mausoleum in the cemetery outside, but there is a hidden way into the tomb behind the armor in the basement.
Your grandmother. Will it not cause problems to attach a woman's head to a man's body?
No, I don't see how it would make any difference in this new race of ours. We do not even reproduce sexually, so not even that significance is relevant.
What do you mean we don't reproduce sexually? How do you know?
I spent quite some time with Wolfram dead and mindless, you know. I can safely say that, though we do experience all the physical sensations of intercourse, we cannot become pregnant or bear children.
I see. I'll go take a look behind the suit of armor.
Thank you.
Clockwork?
Yes, we need something to supply the body with the force to move. We can't make the heart beat again, so we use the spring-loaded clockwork. In the future, we'll have to think of a source of parts more reliable than...
I see.
Thank you.
Some things have been puzzling me. On my way in here, I killed a cat. It was in my way and it felt so natural to just dispose of it. It worries me a bit.
How so?
I may have a functional brain, but what about a soul? Shouldn't there be something in me stopping me from hurting others? Or at least making me feel bad about it?
You're right. It did come very natural for me to murder my husband. But I'm not too worried about this. I have no desire to commit unnecessary killings, and I do have control over my actions.
I want to ask something.
I'm here for you.
Did I used to have hair?
You had beautiful hair. Unfortunately, I had to shave it all off in order to operate on your head and open your cranium.
Will it grow back?
I don't rightly know. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see.
Yet, you're not bald.
I was revivified directly after my death, when my body was still fresh. You, my dear, had been in the ground for quite some time. I had to reconstruct...
That explains the metal construction holding together my skull.
I have my fair share of screws and bolts myself, but they are carefully hidden. I opted to sacrifice your pretty hair so that I could work more on preserving...
I wanna...
I'm here for...
What is this I'm wearing?
I'm so sorry about that. I covered you in scraps and bandages I found in the laboratory. I had to cut open and discard most of what you were buried in order to stitch you up. I want you to know that my plan was to be right next to you when you woke up, to help you understand and to...
I'll start looking for the
Thank you. Come talk to me if there's something you're...
That's a big wardrobe. I bet you could hide a corpse in there. Look, a perfect... This is the nail from which I skillfully lifted. Belladonna was right. There is a secret switch behind Roland the poet. It's too dark down there. I won't see... I can't just drop the lantern into the hole. It's gonna break when it hits the bottom. I'll just tie this rope to... Yes, I can lower the... Amazing. I must be directly underneath the mausoleum and the cemetery. I can't believe it. It's another Another angel. Are you the third sibling? Here's Francisca's coffin, but the lid is much too heavy for me to lift. Maybe I could break it open. The things one does... You look very peaceful, but I do so need your head. Now to carefully remove the head. The body of a deranged murderer, the decomposed head of an old lady, the brain of a...
Welcome to the Lab of Horrors.
I have Francisca's head.
Well done. Just give it to me and I will attach it to the neck.
I have the brain.
Well done. Please give it to me.
I'm still looking for clock.
I don't care about timekeeping anymore. You can destroy any clock you find in the castle and not think.
I found something else in the crypt. Another note.
What is the...
It's just... forget it.
Yes, let's get this...
I'll get going. I see a lot of mechanical parts. This faithful screwdriver will do the trick. Time. Don't you worry, little pile of flesh and bones. I took some parts from the old...
Well done. Let me...
I'll get going.
Thank you, dear.
That may...
Thank you, dear. Thank you, dear. The creation is complete. All we need to do now is force life into these dead limbs. That big switch on...
Gladly. The time has come. I've wanted to pull this thing since the first...